What's up, guys? Welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about how to recover from health anxiety, two things that are super freaking important if you want to ultimately recover, put the nail in the coffin on this thing, right? And finally move on and live a fulfilling life. Health anxiety is such a problem, especially with the pandemic. You know, a lot of people have health anxiety that didn't used to have it. So I think this video is super important, all right? I suffered from health anxiety for 5 years. I went through so many different stages. I did so many different things wrong. And my goal on this channel is to keep you from making those same mistakes. There were so many times when I finally thought that I beat health anxiety, but since I didn't master these two things I'm gonna be covering, it just came back. I had like little mini recoveries, but I didn't recover from the big thing. But you know what time it is. Smash the like button down below if you're ready to kick health anxiety in the butt today. Leave me a comment, guys. Let me know what types of music you listen to help you with your anxiety. I think it'd be an interesting question to answer today down below in the comment section. Let's get a discussion going. I think other people might look up the songs that you listen to, the types of music. I think it could help some people, so leave that down below. Realize, guys, obviously there's a lot that goes into health anxiety recovery. I mean, obviously patience, consistency, overcoming your fears, exposure to fears, lifestyle, routine. We're talking about, you know, the diet, the exercise, all the tools, desensitizing your body, mindfulness. All of those things are wonderful and they can help you. And I got pretty good at doing a lot of those things. But since I didn't have these other two more important things, I think, to finally put health anxiety to rest so I could live that life that I deserve and that life that you deserve, I would go back into that vicious cycle. And so many of you know what I'm talking about. I would go back into this vicious cycle after I finally felt like I conquered my fear of this disease and then that disease. It's almost like my anxiety would go into dormancy for a little bit and then come back out because I hadn't ultimately rewired my brain and I didn't ultimately recover from health anxiety. Basically, I recovered from cardiophobia or this intense fear of MS or this intense fear of throat cancer, you see? But really all that happened was it went into dormancy. Maybe my symptoms went down once I finally came to this level of acceptance. But when I had a new set of symptoms, either from lingering anxiety since I didn't fully rewire, or if it was just a real sensation or a symptom that you experience as a human being in this world, right? A cold, a headache, a stomach ache, I made the horrible mistake of going right back into it. You see, because I didn't fully rewire, I didn't fully fix the problem. So let's jump into this. Let me show you these two things that changed my life and allowed me to fully recover. The first thing that I needed to learn was not overreacting or jumping the gun when my symptoms changed, all right? And this could be symptoms or sensations caused by your lingering anxiety since you haven't fully rewired. You may have thought you fully rewired, but there's something looming. There's the elephant in the room that we're gonna talk about in a little bit that you haven't mastered or managed or overcome. And you just ended up going into something else because your symptoms changed, right? Or symptoms that happen as a human being in this world, colds, stomach pains, sensations, symptoms, things like that. I didn't master that process. That's why I bounced from one thing to another, to another, to another, with maybe a brief little lull in between where I was in a limbo, where I was kind of at peace, but I was still, you know, sensitized to everything, still felt everything. And that's also another problem. Even though I'd gotten over my cardiophobia that I dealt with for 2.5 years, and it was amazing, I finally got to that level of acceptance, right? And some of you have been there with different disease scares. You get there. You're still in a vulnerable period of time, you know? Like, you're still going to be sensitive to everything going on in your body. You're still going to be hyper aware. You know, you're going to still have some of the lingering symptoms, and your subconscious might try to change the symptoms up on you because you haven't fully handled the root causes of your anxiety. So the message has changed. So instead of you dealing with the chest pain that you used to deal with and a fast heart rate, maybe you start feeling dizzy. You see, you still have the overall health anxiety and it has to go somewhere else in your body to get your attention. See, when I got past my cardiophobia, consciously I'd recovered from that and I was like, I'm not scared of the chest pain. I'm not scared of the heart rate. So guess what? Those symptoms obviously started to die off since I had fully accepted that I was dealing with anxiety, not cardiophobia. But then I started to develop other symptoms. And what you do when you develop other symptoms is super important. Down to the first few seconds you experience them, you have a choice to make. Am I going to automatically assume that this is something else? Or am I going to take the more rational road, which is hard in those moments, I get it, and accept that this is anxiety. I have a track record of this. I thought I had this and then this and then that. Man, I thought I had that for 2.5 years and the whole time I was healthy and those symptoms went away. I have a problem with this. So there's a decent chance that that's what this is. Actually, there's a better chance that it's that than this. But you know what? If these symptoms continue, I'll go to the doctor and get checked out. And they'll let me know, right? I'll be smart about it, because, you never know. But I am not gonna jump the gun. I am not gonna diagnose myself, which is still misdiagnosing. I'm not gonna jump on Google and look up these new symptoms. And see, that's the huge problem that I had. I got past the cardiophobia, had a little bit of moment of peace, even though I still was anxious. I would still occasionally have an anxiety attack. I just didn't fear it, right? I didn't fear it as much. Then I had some stomach pain one day. And I remember this, it just felt weird. I tried to fight it off. I tried to fight off the urge to Google. And I was like, man, I'm gonna go look it up. And I looked it up and I saw a bunch of different cancers of the digestive system. And I tried this. This is like my first big test in my health anxiety after overcoming the cardiophobia. I tried to fight it off and I couldn't. And I went right into it and I Googled more. And for the next 3 months, that pain never went away. I think the pain was just something that was just from life. But once I put my focus and energy on it, my mind took over and then the pain stayed there. The tension happened, it moved around just a little bit, and I dealt with that for 3 months. And then finally, whenever I accepted that pain went away. But then I had some weird sensation in my throat. Then I assumed throat cancer. And then it was brain cancer with a headache, and then it was lymphoma. See, I went through these stages because when I would have a new symptom, either caused by lingering anxiety or just for being a human being, I jumped the gun, would Google, diagnose myself, wouldn't wait it out to go see a doctor or anything like that. I would jump the gun and then assume and catastrophize and spiral and automatically think that I was set up for a disease. So in that moment, you have to stop when your symptoms change. You have to look at your history, look what you've been through. And you have to not self-diagnose and you have to not Google. One of the biggest problems is you're just Googling again. And for a lot of you, Googling got you into this mess in the first place. You had symptom sensations, you Googled since you were already negative and wired to negativity, you assumed the worst thing that you saw. That's how my cardiophobia really got started when I had my first panic attack. And you would have thought that I would have learned from that. But no, I went to Google again to find out why my stomach was hurting, and then I believed that I had some type of digestive cancer. Second thing, guys, it's the elephant in the room. I had to learn how to manage my fear of death, suffering, disease. I had to manage that. I had to learn how to handle that. Because ultimately, that was one of the reasons I had this urge to overreact when I had the symptoms or the sensations, right? Either caused by lingering anxiety or just regular life. Because I had this new overwhelming fear. Now, did I fear death and dying and disease more than the average person before my health anxiety really took a hold of me? Yeah, I believe so. But there was still a different level to it when I had my health anxiety. It was like I'd lost a crap load of my innocence during this. When you think you're dying every day, it's scary. So I had that now that I had to handle. And so many of you, you're getting past these disease scares one at a time. But since you haven't really learned how to manage your fear of disease in general, you go back into that trap. So that was the next thing I had to learn how to accomplish. So I'm gonna cover that real quick. Just know that this is not an easy part. This is why I think a lot of people deal with health anxiety in some way or another for a lot of their life. Is it possible to recover? Yes. So you need to take my advice on this one. So you do need to know this. If you're going through a disease scare right now and your acceptance isn't where it needs to be, it is going to be hard to not fear death when you think death is right around the corner nonstop. I think that's the block that I have when I try to explain to people how to overcome or manage your fear of death. It's like, it sounds good, it sounds great, but right now I think that I have this disease, so it's hard for me not to fear death when I think it can literally happen at any time. So that's why you have to get your reassurance from the doctors, and then you have to start building internal reassurance. Like I said, with my cardiophobia, I got all the testing. I'd been through it for a long time. My awareness and education of it went up. And finally, I exercised when I had a panic attack, and that did it for me. It was amazing. It actually gave me more reassurance to the doctors that I was finally healthy. So I was able to accept and let go. That's when the real work starts. See, I should have taken advantage of that time before I developed the stomach sensation, either caused by anxiety or just regular human stuff, right? I think it was regular human stuff. I should have taken advantage of that time, but we don't. See, we don't handle our overall fear of death, dying, disease, suffering. So when we have a new sensation, that fuels the urge to Google, to catastrophize, to spiral. See, we didn't fix the elephant in the room. That's why you get stuck in this cycle. That's why you move from one disease and you may have a month, maybe even 6 months. Hell, some people can have 5 years where they feel fine. And then you have a cold and you automatically think it's that and you're back into the health anxiety thing. It's because you never change your perception. You never learned how to manage that fear. You never learned how to basically take it and save it for the moment. But we'll get into that. So let me be the first to tell you that somebody telling me, that we're all going to die one day, it didn't help me. I'm still scared of the process. I'm scared of what it's going to feel like. I'm scared of suffering. What if it's drug out? What if I don't get to say goodbye to somebody? What is it like after? What happens after we die? That didn't erase any of that. Basically, you just confirmed my fear. I'm going to freaking die. So if you're telling anybody that, or if you've been told that, it's wrong. It doesn't help. Of course, people that don't have anxiety, they don't understand how to communicate with us. So I do my freaking best to never say that to somebody that has health anxiety because it just makes them feel like crap. Yeah, way to state the obvious. We're all gonna die. That's why I'm freaking scared. So what I try to do is to help people manage their fear of death or disease and suffering in the way that I did, because this was tremendous. If I wasn't able to do this, I'd still be suffering today, okay? So I'll be the first to admit, I don't want to die. I'm scared to die. I am scared to suffer. I am fearful of getting a disease one day. That hasn't changed. But guess what? I've decided to save that fear for the time of maybe diagnosis, the days leading up to my death, the moment of my death, the day of my death. I'm going to be sad. I'm going to do some crying. Guys, I'll be the first to admit it. I was crying coming into this world. I'll probably be crying when I'm going out. I love my kids. I love my wife. I love living. You could argue that people that have health anxiety, maybe we love life more than others. Maybe we do fear death more than other people, right? We love to be here. We don't like the idea of not being here anymore. I still feel that way. Maybe I still am more scared of death than the average Joe. But I've learned how to manage it so that my health anxiety in general could go away, right? I've decided to save the fear for then. Not only is this going to help you with your health anxiety, it's going to allow you to be more present, live each day to the fullest, and get more out of your life. That's why your life is going to be so much more amazing in ways you can't even imagine probably right now when you finally recover from health anxiety, because you're going to be so present. You're going to take life day by day, all right? And that kind of brings me to the present moment. Think about your life from kindergarten, to your senior year. I know some of you are teenagers still, but it seemed like it was a lifetime all on its own. God, that seems like 30 years. I'm 31. I just turned 31, guys. God, from kindergarten to my senior year, that feels like 31 years. It's crazy. It feels like its own little mini lifetime there, right? Long time, decades. But it wasn't. It wasn't. But why did it feel that way? Because I was more present then than I had ever been in my life. I was so freaking present. I wasn't worried about tomorrow too much. I wasn't worried about my past too much. I wasn't worried about my girlfriend or going to the movies or hanging out on Friday night or a Friday night football game. I was worried about my ice cream. I was worried about my lunch at school. I was worried about hanging out with my friends. I was present. I was more in my life. So guess what? When you're fully present, your life starts to slow down. I know whenever I got into my early adulthood and this anxiety thing started going by, man, it's like bam, 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 bam. It was just going by. I wasn't present anymore. I was worried about my death in the future, and I was thinking about the past, thinking about what did I do wrong? Look at how much time I've wasted with my anxiety. So I never was really present. Something magical happens when you become present. Your fear of death and dying and suffering and disease, it gets cloudier and foggier. Maybe it's still there more so than the average person, but it doesn't have to meet the criteria of a health anxiety sufferer. right? It doesn't have to meet the criteria of somebody being stuck in this freaking vicious cycle. It gets foggier and foggier because you're so invested in the present moment. You're living life to the fullest, okay? And that brings me to the next thing. I was able to turn death into motivation for me, right? And that's why I'm thankful I went through my health anxiety. I don't want to die, so I'm going to live each day to the best I can, the best way I can. I'm going to love more today than I loved yesterday. I'm going to help more today than I helped yesterday. The only thing I'm thinking about at the end of the night is like, did I tell my kids I loved them enough? Did I spend enough time with my wife? You know, all those things are what goes through my mind. Not like, oh my God, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. See, I found a happy medium. See, I used to be jealous of that, you know, overweight dude eating a hamburger on a bench. And I'm thinking like, man, you know, he doesn't worry about crap, you know? Like, I'd love to be there. But no, he's not taking care of himself physically. His life will be shortened by the decisions that he's making. I now have a healthy perspective. You know, I have a healthy balance. I know that I have a time. I'm on a clock in this life, right? But I also know that I need to be in the present moment, right? I need to be fully invested in the present moment to get the most out of my life. So knowing that I have a clock allows me to be more physically healthy. It allows me to be more mentally healthy, right? So there's a nice happy medium that you're going to find post health anxiety recovery, right? So in a nutshell, guys, I became more fearful of not living than dying. The fear of not living my life to the fullest day to day became more overwhelming than my fear of death. My fear of death started to fade, and it's still fading to this day. I want to get the most out of my life. I'm scared. The primary fear that I have, and some of you could argue that that's not healthy, but I'll take that over negatively obsessing about death all the time. My biggest fear is like I'm not getting the most out of my life. So it keeps me in this state of growth. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to love more. I want to make somebody's day special. I want to spend time. I want to be better at being present. And you'll never fully master that. You can always get better at it. I just don't think as a human we can fully master being present. But you can get better. And I'm getting better every single day. I'm never going back there again. So you have to change your perception of death. You have to learn to let it fuel you. You have to find a healthy balance where you know you're on a clock, but you're still not negatively obsessing, and you're taking your life day by day to get the most out of it. And by doing that, your life will actually slow down. You'll get more out of your life. Be present. Take your life day by day. When you wake up, be thankful for the air that's in your lungs. Be thankful for the life that you have. Be thankful for the opportunity that you have. The problem with these two things that I'm really talking about, which is saving the fear for the moment or the time of diagnosis or the days leading up or the day of your death, and in using death as motivation, is you're not trying to develop this mindset right when you're coming off of acceptance of a certain disease scare. I think it has to happen at the right time, because it's hard to develop this mindset when you're fully in like cardiophobia, or you're fully in like the MS scare, because you really do believe death is around the corner. So it's hard for you to adopt that mindset. So my best advice to you guys, if you want to fully overcome this, when you finally get past the disease scare that you have right now, immediately try to develop this mindset. It'll help you out. But if you've watched this far in the video, guys, I want you to go down below in the comment section. I want you to comment, I will beat health anxiety. I will beat health anxiety, an amazing affirmation. You have to believe that you're going to recover from something to recover from it. So if you've been saying, I hope, I try, or I don't know, you got to start telling the subconscious what's going to happen eventually. I don't care about how long it's going to take, but I will recover from health anxiety. I will beat it. That's what I had to do. But obviously there's more things that go into recovery. There's a lot more actually. It's just those two things right there. If you can master that, it'll keep you from going into the new disease scare. And it'll finally free you, and you can put the nail in the coffin instead of your health anxiety going dormant for a few weeks to a month or even years and then just coming right back. I want you guys to fully recover for the rest of your life, right? Okay, so know that there's more that goes into it. Diet, exercise, routine, consistency, patience, exposure to fear, reassurance, desensitizing the body. I include all that stuff along with the awareness and education you need to defeat the enemy, health anxiety, in my course, Elite Anxiety Bootcamp. The best bargain you're going to find for a course that helps you with anxiety or health anxiety. You can do the research. You can go out there and look for courses, guys. They're going to be so expensive. Mine's extremely affordable because I want to help as many people as I can. We have people joining that course every day. You get lifetime access. So in the future, whenever I update it, you're going to get all of that. There's no monthly subscriptions, none of that. Okay. It's a one-time thing. You get it for the rest of your life. So be a part of that. It's changing a lot of lives out there. I want you to be part of that journey as well, and I want to help you. It's going to take you step by step on what I did every single day to help me recover from anxiety. It's my blueprint. So check it out. I'm going to put it down below in the description and in the first pinned comment. Be a part of that. But guys, I love you all. Please hit the like button if you got value out of this video. I try to put everything into this. I could talk in this for hours, guys. And subscribe if you're new here. Be a part of the family. I make tons of videos about anxiety, especially health anxiety, about symptoms, things like that. Be a part of this community. Down below in the description, there's other resources. There's online therapy. Try that out. If you've never been diagnosed, you need to be diagnosed, okay? So online therapy, you can do it on the phone, the laptop, the PC. I'm going to put the link down below. It's very convenient. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, free Facebook groups, all that stuff is down there. So go check that stuff out. And until next time, guys, keep fighting. I love you.